All right, today we're going to build a toolkit, a practical one, for those days that are just a total slog. We're talking about how to take that awful, wasted day feeling and turn it into something you can actually manage, maybe even feel good about. So, have you ever had a day that just feels like a complete and total loss? You know the ones. Your to do list is just sitting there, kind of mocking you. Your brain feels like it's full of fog. And every single task, even the easy ones, feels like climbing a mountain. It's a feeling we all know for sure. But here's a thought. What if the day itself isn't actually the problem? See, here's the thing. The biggest mistake we make isn't having the bad day in the first place. It's that we judge it. We take our low energy, foggy brain day and hold it up to the standard of a high energy, super focused day. And of course, it doesn't measure up. That's what leads to all the guilt, the shame, and that horrible, I totally wasted today feeling. The real key here is to shift our whole mindset. We're not trying to fix the day. We're going to learn how to handle it skillfully. So let's get into the why of this. On those bad days, our brain's threat system is basically on high alert. It's like the alarm bells are ringing. So when you look at a big goal, it just feels overwhelming. That triggers this really primal instinct to just avoid it. You see the task, you feel that sense of dread creep in, and then you do nothing. Which of course just makes you feel even worse. It's a vicious cycle.
Okay, so our first tool is so simple, it's almost genius. Shrink the goal. Look, the fastest way to get past that feeling of avoidance isn't to sit around and wait for motivation to strike. It's not coming. The key is to create a tiny, tiny bit of progress. We have to basically engineer these small, manageable wins for ourselves.
Just think about this for a second. The usual approach is something like, I have to write this entire report. On a low energy day, that feels absolutely impossible, right? But what about this skillful alternative? Open the document and just write the title. That's it. It's so easy, it's almost ridiculous not to do it. You're lowering the barrier to entry down to practically nothing. And this works for literally anything. The whole goal is to take a big, vague, overwhelming task and shrink it into something that takes like less than 20 minutes and has a super clear finish line. So, study for finals? Nope. That becomes review 5 flashcards. Clean the whole house? No way. It becomes clear off one single surface. See? It's actually achievable. Now listen up, because this is the most important part of this whole tool. You have to give yourself permission to stop after that one small task. You are officially allowed to stop. The funny thing is, a lot of the time once you get that tiny bit of momentum, you actually want to keep going. But even if you don't, it doesn't matter. You already got a win on the board, and that is the entire point. You see, when you complete even one tiny little thing, something really powerful happens in your brain. It's like you get this little hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical. That small win is enough to tell your inner critic to be quiet for a minute. It gives you back a sense of control and sends this really important signal to the rest of your brain that says, hey, I'm capable today. And honestly, sometimes that one little signal is enough to change the entire direction of your day. All right, on to tool number 2. This one is all about tackling that feeling of mental overload. You know, a lot of the time, what makes us feel so stuck isn't one giant problem. It's more like a storm of unprocessed noise in our heads. All those little worries, to-dos, and anxieties just looping over and over. It's like having way too many tabs open in your brain. So the process here could not be simpler. You just grab a piece of paper or open a doc, set a timer for, say, 5 to 10 minutes, and then you just write everything that's on your mind, totally unfiltered. And here's the key. Do not organize. Don't judge it. Don't try to solve it. Your only job is to get it out of your head and onto the page. And here's the magic of why this works so well. When you externalize all those thoughts, you're literally reducing the cognitive load on your brain. It's like freeing up RAM on your computer. It creates this psychological distance, right? So now you can look at your worries instead of being drowning in them. And your brain can finally take a breath because it knows, okay, it's all written down. I don't have to keep juggling this stuff. Okay, tool number 3 is a real game changer. This is about working smarter, not just pushing harder. The big idea here is to stop trying to force your energy level to match the work you think you should be doing, and instead, match the work to the energy level you actually have.
You know, we've all been sold this idea, this myth, that to be productive, you have to be in this state of intense, deep focus. But on a bad day, Trying to force that is like trying to start a car with an empty gas tank. You're just going to burn out the engine and get absolutely nowhere except frustrated.
So instead, we switch our mode. If your brain feels foggy, don't try to write that brilliant proposal. That's not the mode you're in. Instead, do something like organize your files or plan out the week. If you're feeling emotionally drained, maybe it's not a day for creating. Maybe it's a day for learning. Watch a tutorial, read an article. You're still making progress, but you're working with your body, not fighting against it.
Okay, our fourth tool is all about using your physical space to break out of a negative mental space. Because let's be real, sometimes what you need isn't more willpower or another cup of coffee, it's just a simple change of scenery.
And we are not talking about anything drastic here. I mean, a 10-minute walk outside, moving from your desk to the kitchen table. Heck, even just taking a shower or opening a window for some fresh air can be enough. These little actions can literally reset your nervous system, lower stress, and snap you out of those thought patterns that have you stuck. And here's a little pro tip for you. Try doing that environmental reset before you even try to decide what to work on next. Give yourself that break first. You'll be amazed at how much easier it is to make a clear decision when your brain isn't stuck in that rut. So all these tools, they're all leading us to the most important part of all of this, and that's completely changing the definition of what it means to be productive on a tough day. Look, on hard days, productivity isn't about giant leaps forward. It's about just not taking a step backward. It's about preventing mistakes. It's about just maintaining your most basic habits. Sometimes the single most productive thing you can do is just rest, so that tomorrow isn't a disaster too. Showing up at 60% is a million times better than just giving up and showing up at 0. So I want you to try asking yourself this one simple question. What would make today not a loss? Just that. It totally shifts your focus away from all the things you think you should have done and puts it right on what you can still do. And hey, maybe the answer is just making a healthy meal or going to bed on time. And you know what? That absolutely 100% counts. And let me be clear, this is not about being lazy. This isn't about just letting yourself off the hook. It's about being strategic. Handling one bad day with a little bit of self-compassion is exactly what keeps it from spiraling into a bad week or even a bad month. It's the secret to sustainable performance. And really, that's the main takeaway from all of this. A bad day doesn't need to be fixed. You don't have to salvage it and turn it into your most productive day ever. It just needs to be handled skillfully, with some patience, and with the right tools. So, at the end of a day like this, if you can look back and say, okay, I completed one small task, I cleared out some of that mental clutter, I adjusted my expectations, and I protected my energy for tomorrow, well, then that day was a success. It was a productive day. It was just a quiet one. And honestly, what could be more skillful than that?